Hello. So I haven't done this for a little while, and that's partially because I scared myself into silence. I will be honest, I am having to put myself in a very vulnerable position in order to create these videos and take them on a journey to where I hopefully envision them going. But in the first instance, it's very hard because ultimately, not many people are going to watch what I have to say, and also not many people necessarily know what I'm talking about. And also, I have no audience, and I have to try and build something that I from the bottom, and that's scary. That's scary. And there's all of these other instincts and things that are getting in the way of me wanting to move forward and put myself out there in this way, even though I know that if I can do this and do it to the best of my ability and get my messages across, what I have to say could really change and help people. But ultimately, I need to get people to listen to me first. Now, I could have taken this loads of different angles, but I thought let's actually dig into what I've done to get over those thoughts that were stopping me from sitting down and having this conversation to now where I am actually sat here having this conversation. So there's the biggest part of this is obviously we all as humans fear failure and rejection, and often that can get in the way of us actually putting ourselves out there and doing the thing that we need to do the most to get the success. Because if you don't put yourself out there, step outside of your comfort zone, try new things, how will you ever know they're going to work? But also, if you put yourself out there, experiment with stuff, step out of your comfort zone, and it goes wrong, it's much harder to come back and do it again. And in those moments, those coming back and doing it again, that's where your mental resilience is formed, and that's where you learn, and that's where you strengthen the skills and all of those various different things, depending on what you're working on, that you need to keep coming back and repeating and repeating. And consistency is key is becoming such a cliche, but it's so true, and that's why it's a cliche. It's very simple, but showing up and consistently repeating behaviors is the only way that you'll get better at them, even when they're scary in the beginning. I heard a podcast earlier this week from someone called Elise Myers, who is Instagram personality, and she's got a huge following over on Instagram. And the very beginning of her podcast, she said something along the lines of, I used to always try and manage my nerves, but now I'm trying to do more things scared. And it resonated with me so much because as someone who suffers with generalized anxiety disorder, I have to draw the line at times in the sand and go, well, I'm just going to have to be anxious today, and I'm just going to have to get through this. And I don't think enough of us do that. We don't do enough things that scare us. Like sitting down here right now scares me. And when I finish recording, I'm going to go away and overthink all of this and think about all of the different things that maybe people will say, because I don't know. All the horrible things that possibly could be said, I will say them to myself. But then, if I've already said it, the worst things possible, then it doesn't matter what anybody else says, right? So the whole premise of today and sitting down and talking to you is actually talking about resilience and mindset. We stop ourselves from going for things and doing things because they scare us. They scare us because we're scared we're going to look silly. They scare us because we're worried we're going to fail. We're scared because it doesn't fit in with the status quo and we're not used to stepping outside of that status quo. It scares us because we're doing things that are different to what our loved ones may think is a good idea, and we're trying to forge past on our own. I'm here to tell you to not stop. Please don't stop. Keep doing things that scare you. In those moments where you do things that scare you, the payoff when they work out is immense. And it is worth so much more than sitting in your comfort zone and not doing things because you are scared to fail. The chance of succeeding should always, you should push for it to outweigh your fear of failure, which is not always easy to do. So how can you do that? Well, the first thing that I always try to do when I'm doing something that scares me, and it's scaring me to the point that I'm thinking, oh, maybe this is not such a good idea after all, is list all of the possible outcomes, possible positive outcomes. If I do this thing, what could happen? And try and write as an extensive list as possible. So if I sat down and talked to you today, what could happen? Well, somebody could listen to this, just one person could listen to this and go away and feel better or have learned something. That's a win. So if that happens, hopefully it will, then I've won at sitting down here today. What will happen if I don't sit down here and have this conversation? Well, no one will hear what I have to say, and therefore that one person, even if it is just one person, won't get that opportunity to learn something. Try and write as an exhaustive list as you possibly can so that you have got all these different reasons, and those are your reasons to do the thing that scares you. Sometimes we get into our own heads and we don't do things because it seems easier to stay where we are than take a gamble. Sometimes the gamble pays off. It's very easy to give up when things get hard and we feel like they're overwhelming us or they're just that little step too far. Don't. That's your learning zone. That's where you stretch yourself. That's where you're going to find out what you're capable of, and you're capable of so much more than you realize. And sometimes we, as humans, hold ourselves back because it's safer. Mindset. Your mindset in situations is crucial. I could sit down here right now and tell you, well, no one fucking cares anyway, so what's the point? And then if nobody does care, it proves me right. And my mindset, well, it was destined, it was doomed to fail before it started. Whereas if I sit down with a positive mindset, hoping to reach at least one person, then the chances are I'm going to commit much more of my dedication. I'm going to give so much more of myself to the situation, and I'm going to try so much harder to engage with you. Whereas if I sit down and I'm defeated, you have lost already before you start. If I sit down with a defeatist mindset, you have lost already before you start. Your attitude and the way you show up in the world also has a huge impact in the outcome of the things that you're working towards. If you show up thinking that it's destined to fail, the likelihood is it is going to fail. And when it fails, it proves you right. If you go into a situation not sure if it's going to fail or not, but you're willing to try, the likelihood is you will come away at the very least have learned something. If it fails, you will still have learned. And if it succeeds, you've got that massive win. Building resilience and learning to master your mindset are things you have to practice. It does not come straight away, and you have to keep yourself in check. Building resilience, unfortunately, it is only built in those moments where we occasionally get a bit stung, but it's learning to bounce back. The resilience is the bounce back. So focusing on what happens after things go wrong, maybe something flops, maybe something fails, maybe focusing on the process after that is where you're going to learn so much more about yourself and build that resilience. We are afraid to do things that hurt us, but the more we practice them and the more we do them, the less they hurt. It's like learning to go to the gym. Most people, before they start working out in the gym, are very lazy. I was very lazy before I started working out in the gym. And each time they go to the gym in the beginning, It's not an enjoyable experience. No one enjoys the gym at the beginning. They don't. And anyone that tells you that their first trip to the gym, oh, that's amazing, is a liar. And I mean, that's fine. They can lie because some people do need to fake it till they make it. But all of those fabulous, amazing things that everyone tells you about, like, oh, working out pumps endorphins, it doesn't happen on day one. I'm telling you, it doesn't. You have to keep showing up and keep going to the gym. The endorphins come later. Your brain eventually will associate the gym with positive things because it'll give you the endorphins eventually. It will give you the benefits to your health. You will feel more energetic. You will start to get a sense of satisfaction. It will become a repetitive behavior, but it isn't until the pain factor has gone. And the pain factor is the thing that stops you from going to the gym in the first place. You have to unlearn that. With every bad habit in every situation where you are afraid to put yourself out there, you have to question, well, why is my comfort zone positive? What am I getting from sitting in my comfort zone? What is my comfort zone giving me that I enjoy? And list those things. It's like when people are afraid to change jobs and they stay in a job they hate for years and years and years because it's easier to stay in that job. And you ask them, well, why do you stay if you hate it so much? And there'll probably be things like salary increases, holiday pay, health insurance, and all these other benefits that are keeping them. That's the security blanket. How can you replicate that security elsewhere? If you're sticking in your comfort zone, there is a reason you're staying there. And once you understand why you're staying in your comfort zone, you can try and find a way to replicate those things elsewhere. So let's use the job example. That person sticking in their comfort zone because they get health insurance. Okay, well, let's find you a new job that offers that. All the things, if you can find a way to tick off all those positives and get them somewhere else, you do not need to stay in your comfort zone because the new space has got all of those things and the extra that you wanted from stepping outside of your comfort zone. There is so much more about this that I could explore and I would love to explore, and this is a shameless plug now. I'm officially offering NLP coaching sessions, yay, and I am taking on clients, and I'm based in Norwich, and I'm happy to see clients face to face or virtually. I can see anyone anywhere in the world if you want. But the power of NLP really will help you to master your own mindset using language and giving you tools to coach yourself. So in those moments when you're starting to sit back in that comfort zone and make excuses about why you can't do the things that you want to do, working with an NLP coach to help you restructure that and reframe all of that can be really handy. And I don't want to toot my own horn, but I'm pretty good at it. So I'm gonna keep these videos short and light from now on, no longer than 15 minutes because no one wants to hear me rambling on for that long. But if you want to talk about resilience, or you want to talk about learn how to step outside of your comfort zone and what is holding you in that space, then please click the link which will be below this video, which will take you to an inquiry form so we can have a chat about coaching. I offer a 30-minute consultation with every person that comes through to that form because coaching is not a one-size-fits-all solution, and I might not be the right person for you. If you can give me as much information on that form, so I can make sure that our consultation, I ask the right questions, and I can work with people for various different reasons, not just mental health, not just life coaching, personal development, accountability, lots of different things. It's all captured on there. But if you want to talk about being resilient and bouncing back and stepping outside your comfort zone, I just stepped outside of mine. I can help you to step outside of yours.